America's emission cuts obliterated by foreign coal plant emissions. We will burn anything we can to keep our people warm, they say. And I've heard that Germany has bought up. Germans have bought up all of their wood for fireplaces. In other words, they have nothing else to keep themselves warm with in the winter, so they've bought up all the wood. Now, this is by Robert Bryce, Real Clear Energy on WND. The global energy crisis has resulted in a spasm of energy realism and plain talk. Last week, Valkan Bartuszka, the Czech ambassador at large for energy security, told a group of reporters that if there is a gas cut out this winter, we will burn anything we can to keep our people warm and to make electricity. Bartuszka said aloud what has become obvious over the past few months. Climate change concerns are taking a backseat to economic considerations. Indeed, all around the world, countries are turning back to coal to produce power, and the resulting emissions from increasing coal use will obliterate all of the emissions reductions that have been achieved in the United States over the past decade and a half. Here are the numbers. In April, China announced it will increase coal output by 300 million tons this year. In May, India said it aims to increase domestic coal production by more than 400 million tons by the end of next year. According to the Energy Information Administration, burning a ton of coal releases about 2 tons of carbon dioxide. 1 ton releases 2 tons of carbon dioxide. Thus, the 700 million tons per year of new coal consumption in China and India alone will result in an additional 1.4 billion tons of carbon dioxide emissions. According to BP, that's about the same volume of emission reduction that were achieved in the US between the years 2005 and 2020. The surge in coal use in China and India is only part of the story. Russia has slashed or stopped the flow of natural gas into several European countries via Nord Stream 1 pipeline. In response, German Economy Minister Robert Habeck announced last week that his government is taking additional measures to reduce gas consumption, including a big increase in the use of coal-fired power plants. Habeck, who is a member of the Green Party, said the decision to burn more coal was necessary to lower gas usage and that the move was bitter, he said. At about the same time that Germany announced it was reviving its coal-fired capacity, the Netherlands announced it would do the same. Coal plants in the country had been restricted to 35% of their capacity as Holland pushed to cut emissions and use more renewables. Nevertheless, Dutch Climate and Energy Minister Rob Jetten announced that the cabinet has decided to immediately withdraw the restriction on production for coal-fired power stations until the year 2024. Austria, which has been getting 80% of its gas supplies from Russia, announced on June 19 it was going to convert to a gas-fired power plant to burn coal. According to Reuters, the move was decided by a crisis cabinet led by the country's chancellor. Furthermore, on June 9, Poland's Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki said that his country needs to ramp up its domestic coal production to reduce energy costs in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. He said we'll introduce a program of increased coal extraction in Poland's collieries, he said. And according to the Associated Press, the Polish government wants to reduce energy prices before the start of winter and return them to levels that prevailed before the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Now, while it cannot be known yet the total amount of coal that these European countries will be burning, any incremental use of coal will be added on top of the huge increases now underway in China and India, and therefore further increase global emissions and offset any reduction being achieved in the United States. The surging use of coal around the world shows once again that the iron law of electricity remains in force. That law says that people, businesses, and governments will do whatever they have to get the electricity they need. The iron law matters because the electricity sector is the largest emitter of carbon dioxide emissions, and politicians from China to the Czech Republic are going to do everything they can, including burning anything, quote unquote, they can find to avoid blackouts. The punchline here is clear. Although the US has been leading the world in cutting its greenhouse gas emissions, in fact, no other country comes close in terms of absolute reductions as the US. Other countries are not following suit. Furthermore, I'm not arguing that we should quit trying or reduce our emissions. What I am saying, the author says, is that we must be realistic about the scale and cost of our emissions reductions efforts and to the extent to which those efforts are making a difference in the global scheme. And he says, I'll end up by repeating the same point I have been making for more than 12 years. Renewable energy will not be able to meet soaring global energy demand. If the countries of the world are serious about reducing coal use and the emissions that come from burning that carbon-heavy fuel, they need to get serious about end-to-end, natural gas to nuclear. Both sources are low carbon, relatively low cost, scalable, and deployable. Now, the thing is that, for example, what we've recently posted concerning France and her nuclear power plants, most of them are cracked and they have to be closed down. And they could be in the verge of becoming more like Fukushima in Europe. Now, he says here, the good news is the U.S. is well positioned to lead both natural gas via LNG exports and in the development and deployment of next generation of nuclear reactors. But if the U.S. is going to lead on end-to-end, we will need long-term support from both Democrats and Republicans on Capitol Hill. And this is on W&D. It's from Robert Bryce, Real Clear Energy. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.